Ranger sold his wardrobe. The Lone Ranger sold his bad dog. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know, 'cause times change, I know.
On some days, he's more than humble. On some days, he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder. Sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder. You say. On some days, he's more than humble. On some days, he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder. Sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder. You say. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, 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 work, work, work harder, you say.
Come along, join the fun, in a world where adventure is never done. Every corner we turn, a new friend in tow. It's time to start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the lands, together we go. Hand in hand we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode. show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the land, together we go. Hand in hand we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show. Where every day's a brand new episode on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show.
Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. What up, Twitch? What up, Control Alt Delight? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chat arena? It's your boy. Today went off without a hitch. We got a bunch of content to get to. And we probably should get to it. I think I fixed the thing. Try again now that we're live. Do. Okay, I'm hearing them in my head through the headphones. I am not seeing them show up on the thing. Tech support. Everybody loves tech support. It's everyone's favorite kind of stream. The tech support. Doo-doo. I swear I reckon they haunting familiar yet seem to fade. There we go. Cannot find handle of thought like your name. Oh, I hate it here. We did it. All right. All right. What up, Digital?
Daybreak whispers softly that the world's gone wild. starts speaking, and the world feels new. He drives a few clear words, and the magic starts to brew. Hold on to your papers, let that wisdom roll. Hold on to your papers, science got your soul. Hold on to your papers, the future starts tonight. And here's the one who shows the spark that gives our dreams alive. Fluids flowing, robots growing, a spark in my eye. Quiet truths awaken, as they say is the reasons why.
What up, Summonat? No, this is people. This is Dr. Fahir and Two in the Papers, and apparently plays in a band and is a fairly decent guitarist. But I understand why you ask, because the lyrics feel like AI.
Just begun. Hold on to your paper, let that wisdom roll. Hold on to your paper, science got your soul. Hold on to your paper, the future starts tonight. And here's the one who shows the spark that gives our dreams alive. Some folks break dark days, saying nothing will go right. The doctor papers preachers wonder when the world needs light. Every chart, every graph, every curious dive.
Lower your shields.
He says a simple little word.
We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Resistance is futile.
Yo. What up, Lorks gang? What up, Holiday? I'm Globus Yeller. I talk about AI, automation, robots, and future tech. And that was Stampy, who is now under the desk. Go back to your position. Positions, please. And that is Stampy. Oh, look at that. I shout out Tellerx, and Tellerx's avatar gets big in the middle of the screen. That's neat. That was cool. I don't know if that's new or I just never noticed before. Yeah, we were watching. I love you, Dr. Fahir. What up, Chef? But song is not good. So we're gonna move on. Up next, introducing Project Genie. That's pretty wild. Now, obviously, this is highly edited, the best examples out there, etc., etc. Also, limited on the things that you can do. Still, this is the worst it will ever be, and it's highly impressive. So let's listen to Tim at Theoretically Media tell us a little more about it.
So this is kind of exciting and amazing to say. Google's Genie, the real-time world simulator, has released. And thanks to our friends at Google, I've had the chance to play around with it for the last 2 days, and I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of blown away. So today we're gonna go over what it is, how it works, what it can do, and I've got a few use cases.
That was weird, whatever I was just looking at. Testing mirrors in Project Genie, they definitely work correctly, but the results are funny. And there was a double mirror action there. So it knew not only to create, no, it didn't. It did it the first time. What was it, right about here? See, it's got the character, then the mirror reflecting off the mirror behind the camera at this point, and then another reflection in the a reflection of the mirror that's behind the camera. That is pretty neat. It then fails in, again, hilarious fashion, but still pretty impressive. There's sound. It's not. There you go. Yeah, definitely got itself a little confused.
Plus, I do have an exclusive interview with some of the DeepMind Genie team with some information that, well, you're not going to hear anywhere else. All right, let's go build a world. So kicking off with just kind of a brief history of Genie, we first saw Genie 1 in February of 2024.
And that's why it's wild, right? Because it went from 2024 with something that was obviously flawed to the point where we can now nitpick the specific flaws that happen within the generation.
This was a model that was capable of generating games, mainly like 2D platformers at, well, pretty small resolution, and actually was only able to do so for about 1 second. So yeah, we were pretty early in here. Surprisingly though, about 10 months later in December of 2024, we got a look at the blockbuster sequel, Genie 2. Big improvements had been made by this point as, well, we had moved into the 3D world. But there were still issues with runtimes around 20 to 30 seconds and a lot of problems with object permanence. The thing where you see a thing, you turn around, and when you look back, the thing is gone. So the Genie kind of went back in the bottle for a bit, well, at least until August of 2025, when everybody's jaws dropped because we found out this was a trilogy. Genie 3 was now capable of photorealistic outputs, and they had cracked the object permanence issue. To say the least, Genie 3 was, I think, the moment that we all like turned to each other and said, like, oh, this is what a world model is. But also, as the months went on, there was kind of a general vibe of like, well, we're never going to get a chance to play with this thing because it's probably far too expensive in compute. Well, as it turns out, if you made a polymarket bet on it releasing, well, you just made a bunch of money, because Google have released Genie for public use. Now, granted, there is some rollout stuff to go over. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but for now, let's hop in and check out what this thing can do. So this is Project Genie, and yes, it is Genie 3. Now, minus a few bells and whistles, and those might be back. We do talk about that more in my interview with the DeepMind gang later in the video. Now, there are some templates here that you can try out, as well as a demo. So you can see here, this is like the backyard racer RC car kind of thing. But obviously, you know, the fun part is creating your own worlds. So interface-wise, we have options for text to a world. I mean, that sounds weird to say. We can also do image to world, and then additional options to have our world generated either in first person or third person. Plus, we can actually, in third person view, obviously, describe our character. So after issuing a text prompt, and I'll talk a little bit more about prompting in a bit, you're met with a, well, I'd say nano banana preview, I guess. The prompt here was Google Street View, first person view, action cam of a New York City street. We end up with this. If you like what you see, all you have to do is hit create world. From here, we end up obviously in kind of a loading screen, giving you some tips. Controls are the up, down, left, right keys for looking around, and WASD for you know, your movement. And we're off. So I guess I'm kind of in a weird like motorbike thing here, and just cruising down a New York City street. Kind of doing this one live. Yeah, I would say that the controls are a little bit like drifty. It's not too bad. It's actually the best of these world model controls that I've actually felt so far. Definitely not like a Twitch shooter here or anything like that again, but once again, I mean, this is kind of crazy if you really think about it. Yeah, there are some like, you know, morphing and decoherence issues a little bit. I mean, it's not too bad, especially if you're kind of, you know, paying attention to what's directly in front of you. But yeah, I mean, like that bus kind of gets a little wonky. You can crash into things too. It's actually got, you know, physicality, sort of. I mean, you kind of bounce off of them, but this isn't like a Gaussian splat where you end up like, you know, teleporting through a thing. Like the things that are here are here. So let's go, well, we're out of time. So that's another thing. Your generations are capped at 1 minute. After you're done, you actually have options to download the video, re-roll your.
We went from 1 second to, what was it, like 10, 20 seconds to now we're up to a minute in 2 years.
Prompt, or you can modify it. So if we hit this modify here, let's just turn this into a winter scene. The people of New York are probably not very happy with me saying that, considering, you know, the giant snowstorm that they were just through. So we hit the modify button, and now we're rolling down unsalted streets that the snow removal team has not gotten to. Not dogging on them or anything. That was a bad storm that we had. So yeah, this is pretty crazy. So for a third person perspective option, I decided to, you know, get out of the snow, head over to the West Coast, and prompted for a Google Street View of Hollywood Boulevard, once again in third person. And yeah, we ended up with this, which, to be honest, kind of comes off as like like an inadvertent reskin of Grand Theft Auto 5. You'll note that we do have like these, you know, background characters here. Genie will put them in. They don't really, that lady moves, but they don't really do a lot. They are kind of like static characters for the most part, and kind of a little bit on the blobby side when you get up close to them. Your main character, though, I mean, he's got a face. What I find really interesting about all of this, too, is that like, it's not quite Hollywood Boulevard. It is, but it's not. Like, that was the Chinese theater. But I mean, little details like over on that corner, that I think it's the Ripley's building should be there. But it's not. Is it still open? I don't know if it is. But, you know, clearly, like, Genie knows where we are. Google Street View obviously, has that data. But, we're kind of getting a weird scrambling. I think that's the Egyptian theater over there where it shouldn't be. So it is, yeah, it's just interesting that it doesn't give you an accurate one-to-one necessarily. There's probably obviously a variety of reasons for that, so I get it. But I mean, so if you prompt for something that's kind of a little more on like the generic-y side, like in this case, fishing village on Maui, yeah, I mean, it definitely gets where you are. I mean, like Lahaina Fish Company.
The fact that it can spell with English letters is pretty impressive.
In Maui dive shop. So 100% catching the vibe here. Can you tell it's winter out and it's super cold because we've gone basically from New York in the snow to LA and now we're in Maui. Rounding out on text to world, I guess, before moving over to the image side of things and kind of serving as a bridge. This, of course, is our man in a blue business suit walking down a busy city street. Now, you'll note that it does kind of have this like sort of like video gamey kind of look to it. I have found that in the text to world mode that like Genie definitely kind of wants to lean into this direction kind of often. So one of the tricks is in prompting is definitely spam a lot of words like cinematic, like IMAX, GoPro seems to work very well, or action cam, as well as if you're dealing with streets like this, Google Street View. Those seem to trigger sort of more of a photorealistic output. And again, unless you're aiming for like a game style. Now that said, using this as an image reference and running essentially the exact same prompt, we end up with this, which definitely does end up looking a lot more on the photorealistic side. I wouldn't say like completely realistic. Our man in the blue business suit kind of has a bit of like an Unreal Engine character look to him. There he goes, just wandering around the street trying to get those jaywalking tickets. But clearly our background maintains much more of a photographic look to it. So yeah, just a tip on that front. The other note, of course, is that we have a bunch of garbled text back there. We actually do talk about that a little bit more in the interview in the back half of this video. Yeah, some interesting notes there. But yeah, I mean, overall, again, if you want to...
And I'm back to being disappointed.
Run kind of more of this look, definitely utilize image to video. This looks really good in all honesty. Next up, I was curious to see how the model would handle highly stylized inputs. So I ended up grabbing this image of an environment that we generated up in Midjourney. I always kind of really like this style. And then running this in...
Yeah, that's nice. It's almost that Mobius style. I like this. I would read a comic book that was... When I read comic books, I want them to look good, right? I don't necessarily want them to be particularly artistic in licensing. I want it to look kind of real, like this does, But yeah, I would read this, and I would play this game.
Third person. I was pretty impressed with how the model ended up handling, essentially the style and consistency. But I did wonder, like, where's our character? This seems to be in first person until I turn around and then, oh, there's our girl. She's like, sorry, I was dealing with, beating up some bad guys on another level a minute ago. So running around and exploring the environment with her, jumping across chasms does pretty well. I did see this door over here, ended up wandering back over there just to see if I could open the door. There is no interactivity yet. We do talk about that later on again. So from there, just kind of wandering around the environment. Again, very impressed with the stylistic consistency of everything. I was curious to see if we could have her, jump to her death. I don't know why I do things like that. But as it turns out, yeah, this jump should do at least some kind of damage, but no, nothing. She's fine. And then this is interesting.
But it was neat that she landed like, the Black Widow superhero pose kind of, but that there was impact on the character. Again, a positive development.
When I wandered over here, it was some kind of like item. And yeah, I mean, you couldn't really do anything with it, and it timed out right after that, but found that very fascinating. Next up, I was curious to see how the model would handle, well, like real environments and real photos. So I ended up grabbing, well, it's kind of an older photo of the studio when it was clean. I'm not going to take a picture right now because you would judge me. So running that, I mean, this is just kind of fascinating in all honesty. It does kind of garble up the gear, the computer and the monitor and whatnot. But I'm just like endlessly fascinated by this. This is not what the rest of the studio looks like, but yeah, I mean, it creates entirely new rooms. Apparently, I guess I live in a bamboo forest, I guess, if you can tell by the window outside. Yeah, it's almost like walking through like a dream version, not like a dream, like this is what I would love to have, but like literally I'm having a dream. The other thing that was kind of fascinating there is as we walked into that other room, kind of want that couch. Well, as we walk into that other room, when we return back here, it is still the same environment. Like those guitars are still there. There's an entirely different section over here that we can hop into. It gets a little bit on the dark side, so this might be the nightmare segment of the dream. For some more tests on object permanence, I ended up generating up this image in Nano Banana, kind of a very Elden Ring inspired game. And then running this, you know, I hop right off and head over to check out that knight on a horse there. And yeah, I mean, he's pretty solid. You can't really interact with him or talk with him or anything like that. You can't jump on the horse. You can't even like whap the horse on the butt to make him run away.
Whatever this green bar in the lower left corner is filled up though, which was neat.
But there he is. There is another knight that's in the background there. So I thought it'd be an interesting test to head up to that knight and then turn around to see if we could still see our initial knight. And yep, our guy's still there. Once again, head over, get a closer look at this knight, and then turn around to check on, once again, our former knight. And yep, he's still there. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, it definitely does remember where it puts things. Moving on to two outputs that, I mean, kind of just ended up blowing me away. I ended up taking this image, this, you know, kind of like hipster restaurant in New York that we have run on the channel in the past. And the intention here was that I wanted to explore the bar area. But as I began running the generation, what sort of surprised me was that I could walk through the window. So I was like, all right, well, let's just keep going on and exploring the city. And it just kind of took me aback at how far I could get from our initial location. Again, like I was thinking like I was just going to be exploring, you know, a small restaurant. And as it turns out, I could walk out into a city. And on top of it, like consistency wise, at least, or aesthetically, I guess, at least, like it's managing to maintain and hold the vibe of that initial input image. You saw that like red light shining down there. And as we keep walking, you know, it's got that, you know, crimey, grimy look to it that I was aiming for in that original input image. Yeah, I mean, this is like you can just kind of keep going. It's sort of crazy. Now, the one that really ended up blowing me away was this one. This was kind of early into my testing, and I was really trying to push the model as far as we could take it. So I ended up prompting for a comic book page about a space pirate who is looking for treasure on an alien planet. And I gave it some instructions that I wanted to be able to move the page forward and backwards using the control keys. It does not do that, though it did generate the buttons for it. Now, what it did do was initially it does that push in and then kind of pulls out again. And I was like, oh, I guess this is sort of a dud
What up, Revens?
thing because it's not letting me do the next page. And then all of a sudden, our guy takes off. Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, it obviously identifies a character there. So our guy just starts kind of wandering around, you know, completely off the page at this point and exploring the area. And I just love the fact that it incorporates in the aesthetics of the comic book panel into like the rest of this environment that is an extension of the table, but not really. Yeah, our table comes back again, proving that there is object consistency. It does lose it because we got a second astronaut there, but I mean, I'm not going to really dock it. And then we wander over here. There's like another book and then just an entirely different environment over here. I mean, this is so crazy cool. So before going over use cases, we probably should talk about availability because yes, this is initially at least only rolling out to the Google ultra tier, so the pricey one. That said, this is sort of par for the course for these big flashy models. When they initially debut, they would start off on the highest tier, be this Google, OpenAI, or really any of them, and then eventually they kind of filter their way down and then eventually open up via API. Google themselves said that their goal is to make these experiences and technology accessible. So if you're not on the ultra plan, give it some time. If you really want to play with it, you can sign up for the ultra plan. Now, in terms of interesting ideas and use cases for this, we are still very early in, but I kind of think that the door is wide open here. Like on the game side, there's the idea of using it to sketch out game ideas or build worlds. But of course, where I immediately went to using it is, as a virtual set for VO3 videos. So taking that impressive city walk generation that we saw earlier, I ended up just, taking a shot of one part of the location, then turning around and taking another shot from the same area. Utilizing Nano Banana, I ended up cleaning up the image, and then I ended up inserting this guy into one shot. And then for the reverse shot, I of course used Flamethrower Girl.
You're telling me that I'm a prompt in an AI video?
No, sweetie. I'm telling you that you are a prompt in an AI world simulation.
Is that somehow supposed to make me feel better?
But honestly, that's just kind of scratching the surface of what Genie can do. In fact, I talked a lot more with the DeepMind team. We're going to jump into that interview in just a moment. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor. Relevant to your interests. Artlist is a name that most pros in traditional video production are familiar with. So that makes it extra exciting that they've launched into the AI space with a powerhouse platform. Artlist AI Toolkits is packed with pretty much every state-of-the-art model you can think of. On the video side, we have Google's Veo 3.1, Sora 2, Kling, Hailu, or Minimax as you might know it, and more. One thing that I am extra appreciative about is the fact that it's not just the latest models as well. As you can see, we have access to the older models as well, such as, like Kling 1.6, which sometimes gets you the output that you're looking for. That's just a quick off-book reminder. AI moves so fast that just because it's one version behind does not make it obsolete. Moving back to the AI toolkit, it is just as packed on the image side with models ranging from Nano Banana Pro, Flux 2.0, Ideogram, Seedream, and more. And the fact that they are all on one platform makes it especially easy to be able to edit and combine models for wholly unique styles and looks. For example, here where I initially generated an image in Seedream, I then edited that image in Flux 2, and then further refined it in Nano Banana Pro. And what is extra cool about Artlist AI Toolkit is that they have their own model, Original 1.0. This is an image model trained on Artlist's own high-quality footage, so every image is grounded in real cinematography and designed with filmmakers and professional video creators in mind. But the thing that has me really excited is the upcoming Artlist Studio, which brings together so many of the iterative workflows we commonly use to achieve cinematic results in AI projects into a seamless and intuitive studio space. AI Studio Space is designed to be a true AI production experience, giving creators more control at every stage of video creation.
It's just fucking wild, dude.
And I'll say this is very much the beginning for Artlist. I was recently at an event that they threw for the launch of AI Toolkit, and speaking with them, they definitely have a vision and a roadmap for where they're headed with the creator in mind. If you're interested in checking out and getting started creating with the AI Toolkit, the link is down below.
So, I've been kind of following the project since Genie 1.
Mm, 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 mm. $14 a month yearly, $20 a month monthly for the starter. And then it looks like the main difference between the professional and the starter is number of tokens and or credits and priority generation speed.
Back when it was 1 second outputs, and they were like kind of like blurry blobby ones as well. What were some of like the major benchmarks or breakthroughs that have happened over the last few years that have actually gotten us here?
So Genie 1 was kind of a proof of concept in terms of, can you actually design a model that can generate new worlds, right? So previous world models in the sense of what we mean by world models, and models that like generate the future, right, on the fly. Those kind of models that could only really take in a specific domain. So it's like take all of, you know, an Atari game and then use that to get a world model for that one game, right? Whereas with Genie 1, the idea was, can we train on sufficiently diverse data that we can prompt it with something new and it will just create it a tool, right? When we did Genie 1, we used MaskIt as the generative model, right? MaskIt is kind of in between like a diffusion model and a language model. And at the time, there were video models using that as well, right? Funaki used MaskIt, and Funaki in late 2022 was one of the state-of-the-art video models, right? It's actually still pretty good if you look at it, but it's nowhere near like the VO3s, right, of this world. So Funaki was kind of around when we started developing Genie, and we kind of based some of our design choices on that model because it was also in-house. So between 2022 and 2024 or 5, like video model has gone from being a very frontier thing to being like an established, like just really incredible technology that we know how to scale it and we know what works. I think that has really come along in the last few years, and you can see the kind of things we're able to do with Gemini as well.
I think we saw the ability to change environment in prompting in Genie 3 that isn't present, obviously, in this model, which, again, I think I'm not dogging or anything at all. I totally understand that there's a lot of compute involved here. But what was sort of the thought processes in terms of like what you had to scale back on in order to bring this out to public release?
So part of bringing Project Genie to life and bringing it to users, even in its experimental form right now, we wanted to make sure that pretty much everything that gets exposed to users at scale, that they actually have a high quality experience. And so we really are sort of holding a high bar for anything that works reliably and that people can actually use repeatably. And so for things like promptable events and other things that the model natively supports, we'll be evolving those into Project Genie as the end-to-end experience over time. And there's a lot of other exciting things that we're also thinking about that we've been learning about as we've been testing it and learning from users.
In that same vein is about interactivity within the world. Do you see that as being expanded at some point or another, where a character is walking and you can pick up a rock?
100%. Yeah, it's a great call out. I think that's one of the core experiential pieces that we want to expand on over time, for sure. Like the amount of things that you can do in the world, but also the way the world evolves over time could be an interesting area to explore. And like you're alluding to, I think that this idea of like the actions that you take are also contextual to the world and maybe to the objects that you have at hand, etc. I think that's one area that we'll look at integrating as well.
The thing you're playing with is give or take the same Genie 3 model, right? That like we showed the research preview. The difference is which bits we expose. So we don't expose the promptable world events, kind of as like Diego alluded to, like they don't work reliably enough, and there's so many considerations, right? It's like a very frontier thing, right? No one's really done this before. Whereas the keyboard controls, like we've done with Genie 1 and 2, so we kind of knew that they're fun and they work and people will play with it for a while. And so I think these are the kind of things definitely that we have on our radar, right? We don't just imagine like world creation and just walking around, looking around as being the end goal here, right?
A question that I have, why is it always the up, down, left, right arrow keys for view? Why is it never a mouse? Like it's all of them do it. Like is there a technical constraint?
What up, Pharaoh?
Holding back mouse first person view?
Yeah, so I think we're guilty of this, right? Because for Genie, we kind of I feel like we kind of set the tone for these models, like with even the interface, right? Everyone seems to kind of copy what we had for Genie 2 with the like two things. Honestly, that was just for simplicity. A lot of people don't have a mouse, right? And it's just nice to have your hands on the keyboard, and then it just kind of stuck. But there isn't a technical reason why you can switch it up to be a mouse-based thing.
The topic of interface has come up a lot, actually. So like, what does this look like using a mouse, using a gamepad, using the touch screen? So I feel like there's definitely a lot there in terms of like the interface compatibility side that we can definitely build on over time.
sort of some thoughts. I mean, I've already got some kind of kit bashing ideas in terms of taking Genie outputs and kind of running them through VO, cleaning up an image in Nano Banana, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, is the architecture so different that it prevents a bridge from being, combined across all three platforms, or is that something that is possible in the near future?
Yeah, it's a great call out because we do see sort of this integration of all these models into the tool set, and how you create a more fluid experience between them is one core piece that I think we want to build on the product side and on the experience side holistically.
So I was curious. So there's so many different ways to kind of view Genie, like lenses that you can look at it through. Just from a personal standpoint, how do both of you personally see Genie?
It's a good question because it's sort of a fascinating one because it's such a new model, right? It's like a new paradigm. I think they're like zooming out, the sort of two pillars that I see it evolving in is one is on the creator tooling side, and we can talk about examples like filmmaking. I don't know that it necessarily like replaces one-to-one a game engine, but it is definitely a component of that experience that maybe evolves what a game engine previously did. So that's the creation part. I think the second part, which is probably more uncharted and I think we'll see evolve over time, is more of the viewership side expanding into more of an interactive nature. So what that means is like,
oh, Pharaoh.
There was a bunch of nothing, gibberish. Flip flopical, flip topological, flip snobicals. It was a bunch of gibberish, bro.
I fixed it.
passive media all of a sudden becomes much more interactive. And so people play a role in shaping that media, shaping the story, stepping into a world and so on. So I see those maybe two like running in parallel. And I think it'll be interesting to see those evolve.
So I think the way I view this is really a new class of foundation model, right? And I think that's maybe grandiose in a sense, but so far I've not been forced to make any decision, or we've not been, because not really often, we've not been forced to make any decision that has significantly compromised one of the use cases over the others, because it seems like making a model that can just generally simulate the world is not only useful for, like many agent training teams, embodied agents, I mean, virtual and physical world agents that we have in-house that are world leading, right? But there's also, as Diego described, like a huge swathe of like different creative applications and educational ones potentially as well, right? That all seem to be sort of emerging without explicitly optimizing for them, right? And I very much subscribe to this, like, build new ambitious things and then prepare to be surprised, I think.
And we're obviously all just getting the release of Genie 3 right now. Hypothetically, what are some of the things that Genie 4 might look like?
So I guess the most concrete example I can give you is like, so take a look at the screen and play with it, and then look out your window at the real world, and there's quite a big gap, right? And we're very ambitious people, so we try and take the biggest stride between those two as possible. That's technically feasible. And there's quite a few different dimensions of improvement between those two, I think. And we want a model that can simulate anything, including the reality. So there's quite a long way to go.
So yeah, I mean, this is a video that I've been excited to make. Well, I mean, honestly, since like February of 2024 when Genie 1 first came out. So, my thanks to Google and DeepMind for letting me play with Genie and tour you guys through it. So obviously I'll be keeping an eye on Genie and any updates that end up coming to it, along with all of the other news that's going on in the creative AI and world model space, I guess, at this point. In the meantime, as always, I thank you for watching. My name is Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Up next, Helix Tube. What up, Cos? What up, Nick? Do these robot demos state whether it's AI controlled or remote controlled? Yes, but not all of them. Let's take a look. According to the down there part, last year Helix showed that a single neural network can control a humanoid's upper body from pixels. Today, Helix 2 extends that control to the entire robot, walking, manipulating, and balancing as one continuous system. So, according to what it's saying, yes, this robot is controlling itself. It's autonomous. You know, Pharaoh, I was thinking the exact same thing. When it hip checked it, I wondered if it was gonna do the kick. Very nice. Very nice. Big if true. Big if true. What do we got next? Did it learn that on its own or is it trained on human behavior? That is a good question. Helix originally, the company originally, Figure is the company, originally was using ChatGPT, and they decided that they needed their own model, so they created Helix. As such, the data on how the model is trained and everything is proprietary. And it's distinctly possible that it's trained on teleoperation and human behavior. Up next, reality is a group project.
So, as it turned out, there is a form of collective consciousness. No, not like that. More like you have to have other people around you or you will actually go insane, and we'll talk about it. And this is a topic that actually really bothers me and has my whole life. When we are young, we start out with no experience. Remember when I said it's pretty easy to trick a 3-year-old? That's because they don't have a good understanding of what reality should be, and they rely on others around them to tell them. Turns out we do this our entire lives. Think about this. Have you ever reached for a light switch and found that there was not one there? Did you ever wonder if there was this time you ever would have noticed that it shouldn't be? Maybe, probably. Now imagine you have other people around you telling you that that light switch was always there. That's actually why gaslighting is pretty effective. Gaslighting is actually exploiting a cognitive tool that we need. Not convinced? What happens when people are in sensory deprivation chambers? When you are isolated from all your sensation, your brain is expecting something to be there, and without it coming in, it gets kind of bored, so it starts modeling it on its own, and people will see all sorts of interesting visuals. They might hear things. Interestingly enough, tinnitus has been linked to this. People who have hearing loss in particular, there's a lot of different things that can cause tinnitus. They tend to hear the same sounds as the hearing that they have lost. So if you've lost high frequencies, you'll hear that ringing. I do, all the time. Or if you've lost low frequencies, you might hear a rumble. It's thought that your brain kind of misses those sounds. They're not there, so it just makes them on its own because it's trying to fill in the gaps. This is the same principle behind the sensory deprivation chamber. Now, when we're talking about things like isolation, isolation can make people lose touch with reality. People who have been isolated for a very long period of time can hear voices. They tend to have derealization or feel as though they're not in their body. It's thought that this happens because we are constantly having to look to others to see how they are reacting to things and conversing with them so that we can remain grounded. It's also interesting to see what this will do with AI. People are more isolated than they've ever.
Honestly, Nick, I don't know. There you go. That is the correct decision, right? Now did I think do I know what I'm talking about and they're incorrect, or is it possible that I thought something that wasn't correct and I need to go find out? Nick, mad respect.
Been before. But now they're relying on an artificial companion that will probably just agree with whatever you say. There have been better guardrails have been put in place, but it's kind of a positive feedback mechanism. Madness of two, where two people amp each other up with their delusions, yeah, that can happen with AI. But that makes sense now. If we constantly have to rely on those around us to determine what real is, what happens when they're not around? There's a darker side to this, though. As we are growing up, we base our morality on our parents first, who tell us the difference between right and wrong. But as we get older, middle school aged, it becomes our peer group, not your moral leaders, but those around you telling you if what you're doing is good or bad. If you didn't have somebody telling you that littering was wrong, do you really think you wouldn't do it? Psychologically, probably not. A peer group had to inform you of it first. Now, it's not entirely fair.
I mean, you could argue that point, right? Like, would you litter a banana peel? Probably you would, right? If you didn't have a social structure that said that you shouldn't. It is organic. If you put it on the ground, it's going to rot and return to the earth, so on and so forth. But if you had something like this, right? Plastic, inorganic, you had some sort of central receptacle that you could put stuff into, you might do that anyway because this isn't going to return to the earth. So I don't know. It'd be highly immoral to do that kind of experiment to people.
To say this because some groups of people end up having morality that differs from the society around them. That can become dangerous.
What up, walking stick? If you believe that no one collected the garbage or provided garbage cans, you might litter. Yeah, that's why I did caveat that there was a receptacle to put that in. I will put a banana peel in a place where it can help other plants, but yeah, inorganic, I'll hold on to it, put it in a bin. But all of us have a structured societal morality based on our history and the people around us, right? What if you didn't have that? Then what would you do? What if the garbage can existed without the society to create the garbage can?
I mean, say you're a psychopath and your morality differs from
You're a psychopath.
those around you.
How about that?
Let's just hope that morality doesn't land on
Also, the Hannibal TV series, I've watched it twice. Watching it again for the third time with the wife really stands up. Excellent acting. It's a good time.
Very bad things. One of what I think is the biggest dangers of this is that you can socially engineer people's beliefs. AI is better at persuading people than people, because when you click on a video and look at the comments, you consider those comments as more persuasive than, say, your neighbor. But most of the web traffic online, most of the articles, most of the content we see, it's just AI. It can be extraordinarily prolific.
Okay, that's taking the dead internet theory too far. Most of the content we see online is AI. Disagree, strong disagree, right? Maybe it's my own personal experience, but most of the content and all of y'all, when you watch this stream, very little of the content is actually AI generated. It is created by, biological humans talking about AI and things like that. So I'm going to have to disagree with GT on that one.
And you might be able to see where the problem is there. So if you do find yourself scrolling to the comments before developing an opinion, just be aware of it. That person may not actually be an AI, but they
Now, that can be true. People in the comments, right? But you should have known this a long time ago, right? Long before the AI reared its head, human beings were terrible in the comments, and you ought to know better.
may have been influenced by AI, or they might just be, a robot. People with an understanding and an ability to use these concepts to shift public opinion are probably not the people you want to be doing that. Actually, I'm not sure we want anyone to do that, but it did work for smoking. There was a concerted effort to portray smoking as dirty, and it worked. For the most part, people stopped smoking. The other side of that is, of course, what happens when your views on reality do not conform. It can make people go a little bit crazy, or they may just deny the evidence in front of them. Either one is possible. What happens when people's views on how reality should work does not conform? Well, there can be a few outcomes. One outcome is that people can just deny reality, deny the evidence in front of them, and that seems a lot more reasonable when all of your peers are saying the same.
Can any of you in chat possibly have an idea of recent event that some people are denying the reality that appears right in front of them in real time? Again, having nothing to do with artificial intelligence is weird. Funny, it's weird. Wild.
Thing, doesn't it? Another is that you can accept the new information, and this goes a lot better if it's being said by an authority figure. I actually had a roommate that studied that, political science. Or maybe they just keep investigating. But for the most part, it's difficult to accept a new reality when it does not conform to your mental framework, because if your mental framework is wrong, what else are you wrong about? And that's a lot to handle.
And that's valid, right? I'm not saying it justifies it, but that's what you have to understand when dealing with that type of situation. When you have people who see a reality that is different from their expectations of what reality should be, and they do the mental gymnastics in order to try and pretend that the reality that they're seeing matches that internal structure, it's a lot to get from where they are, because you have to be able and willing to question whether or not the things you believe are true are in fact true. And that is very difficult for people.
I can't change people's views on anything. If you have a belief and you feel strongly about it, you're probably just going to stick to it no matter what anyone says. Now, if I could give the world any advice, it would be to figure out what you believe in. What are the moral principles that you abide by? And then look around you. Figure out if what you believe in is actually following those moral principles or not. And if you find that it's not, just investigate further and maybe consider changing your viewpoints. My viewpoints on the world are just try to do as little harm as possible. I just want to tip the scales. My presence on this planet does a little more good than bad. If you've enjoyed this, follow for more.
Up next, OpenAI and the Codex app. I hate this music. That was unnecessary. I'm mad. Someone at OpenAI just totally pissed me off. What up, Froggy? Is it better than Claude? I don't know. I don't use Codex. I don't use Claude. I do not code. I'm not the person to ask. Ribbons would be a better person to ask, but I believe that they just use Claude, so they don't have a basis for comparison. What up, T1? Yeah, I know. Streamer admitting that they don't do a thing so they don't have an answer. It's wild. Super wild. What up, Larry? That is my thing. I'm a white man in America stealing from a black man. What do you expect? This is just reality. Love you. Kiss on the forehead. I heard Codex is pretty good, but needs a different style of prompting that people aren't used to. That is a definitely a possible thing. This music is killing me, and we're gonna do this for another minute 12.
So when we hit create here,
Yay, it's over. All right, let's talk about Suno. Speaking of music, let's talk about Suno. First up, Suno sample. Turn any sound into a song. Full tutorial. Only 9 minutes. You like that music? And that's why music is subjective. Globus is always right. What up, trans women? CEO of Trans Women. What was I right about now? I just used Google AI Studio to create a little diary app for a network group I'm in, and it worked with very little frustration. I can't really code, but I do understand some things, so I think a non-coder will get stuck in more little feature loops, but man, it's getting so much better. Yeah. I actually don't have a red hat. I don't know if you can tell. on the wall behind me. No, that's a bad shot. Yeah. I hung my collection of hats on the gaming shelves. Oh, there you go. Boop. Right there. There. And there. Today, we have on our Cyberdyne Industries hat. Whoop. Yes, trans women, we are going to talk about Moltbook a little later. I've been installing to a phone as an app. You don't have to do the whole Google Play or App Store fiasco. Yeah, you just, like, you want to be careful with third-party apps, but I assume that if you create it yourself, you're fine. We're going to look into it, Larry. We're going to look into it. We're going to talk about Suno first.
Suno's doing something really cool behind the scenes. It's creatively listening to the clip. It's picking all of the best parts and then rearranging them to fit the rhythm of a brand new song. Let's listen to what was made with our sample.
As the daylight bends.
Hello, and welcome back to the channel. We have launched a powerful new way for you to use audio on Suno. It's called Sample. While our cover feature...
This is the official Suno channel, by the way.
Feature tries to make an entire song sound like your input, Sample does something different. It takes specific moments from your audio, whether it's a voice note, a guitar riff, or a drum break, and it chops it up and weaves it into a brand new track. It's basically like having a producer slice up your audio and flip it into a beat. Let's look at how it works.
Also, the mashup feature that's now on Suno is fantastic. I'm a huge fan.
Few ways that you can start here. So you can record something brand new or upload an audio file directly into the create form, or you can take an existing Suno song from your library, click the three
What up, Zach?
dots menu, and then select sample. Once you're in sample mode and you see that your audio is loaded up, you can use these sliders on the left and the right to crop the specific section that you want to use. You need at least 1 second for Suno to be able to do its magic, but here's a pro tip. If you select a longer section, like 30 seconds to a minute, it gives Suno more creative freedom to pick the best parts and chop them up throughout the song. If you select a shorter clip, like 15 seconds or less, the result is going to be much more specific to that exact moment. Let's record some guitar and use that as a sample.
What kind of Suno vid you're supposed to be watching?
Okay, to use sample, we're gonna grab one of our recordings and we're gonna take it from the workspace over into the create form, just a drag and drop, select sample up here, and then we're gonna use these sliders at the top to get rid of me talking at the beginning of this recording. And let's get some lyrics in here. I'm just gonna write classic love song, and for this...
Are they raging against, you don't know what it's gonna be? All right, fair enough, fair enough.
Style, let's do indie-tronic. I'm going to turn the audio influence slider up a bit. This helps the sample stand out because...
Absolutely, Froggy.
The audio slider actually fights with the style slider. So if you want to hear more of your sample, turn the audio slider up and the style slider down. So when we hit create here, Suno's doing something really cool behind the scenes. It's creatively listening to the clip. It's picking all of the best parts and then rearranging them to fit the rhythm of a brand new song. Let's listen to what was made with our sample.
For the tea, you laugh too hard. Your thumb traces the rim of the cup. A book half open.
I hate this. I mean, the guitar is whatever, but those lyrics are fucking murder. I've been told it'll be both sides on AI and somehow anti-cap, though I don't know if I trust Zeoduck with that analysis yet. Fair. 1 point. Do you, are you gonna post in your Discord when you go to watch it? Because depending, I might like to tune in for that. I don't have to work until noon tomorrow Eastern. So I'm always interested when other people watch AI videos with their communities and what the communities has to say. The LUL emote doesn't work in here. Yeah, I mean, you throw it in your Discord, because I get your alerts when you add everyone in the Discord that you're watching new fucking 4-hour monstrosity dropped. It can't always pop in.
The clock stands still. Your name feels lighter each time I speak it. Stay as the daylight bends.
Let's see where Froggy is for. So this is a Suno song? Because I really like that.
From the water, from the mud, white grains rise in sweat and blood. Bend backs in the paddies, water to their knees. Growing food for millions while their children go unfed. Ancient seas in rows align. Hunger taught us how to bind. The merchant counts his gold inside his tower made of stone, while the farmer sells her harvest for a price that breaks her bone. Bow to earth, bow to rain.
Very nice.
Every harvest knows our pain. What we take, we sacrifice. Circle turns around.
People, I will fight the fight and win the war. The homie Nabil. The homie Nabil. Thank you for 10 months, homie. I appreciate you. I hope you are well. I really like this, Froggy. The vibe I'm getting, I could be wrong. It could be way off base, but I'm getting a vibe of like a combination of like Scandinavian Icelandic and Native American combining together in a really interesting way. Again, maybe that's just me, but the video is I'm not sure what you got going on artistically in the video itself, but the song is fan-fucking-tastic.
White teeth cut like sharpened ice. Crueler ice feeds the world but feeds the price. Mountains white as snow, warehouses full, the hungry come and go. Crueler ice, not a failure of the seed, it's the calculus of greed. Subsidies flow northward, tyrants build the walls. Surplus rots in silos while the price rises and falls. Kings grow fat, children wait. Grain decides the hand of fate. They call it market forces like the market has a soul. But markets don't feel hunger. Markets don't console. Every ball of measured slice. Mercy weighed against the rise. Bow to earth, bow to rain. Every harvest knows our pain. What we take, we sacrifice. Circle turns around the rice. Risk crude. Dents blanches tranchantes comme le jet. Risk crude. Nourrir le monde, nous le prix mortel. Montagne blanche comme neige. Les entrepôts débordent. La faim nous assiège. Risque crude. Ce n'est pas la graine qui faillit. C'est le calcul de l'avidité qui plie.
I like phonemes, right? Like I like the mouth noises that human beings, and in this case AI, makes, right? And the interesting rhythms and like mouth feel or whatever mouth feel is when it hits your ears, right? And then your brain. There's just certain words and phrases and phonemes that when they go together, even if I don't understand the language, because my French is almost non-existent, but like I'm hearing it and it's like just the beats and rhythms of the words in that particular way with the music, fucking top notch.
We are the Borg. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Resistance is futile.
ADT. What is up, homie? What up, Michael? Hi, folks. I'm Globus the Elder. I talk about AI, automation, robots, and future tech. And y'all should be following ADT. Nadia Yvette, welcome in. What on earth? This is a community contribution. Just smoke the weed, kids. What up, Stellar Wingman? It's a community contribution. Froggy Mono created this this song using Suno and it created a video and put it up on YouTube, and we are listening to it, and I'm enjoying the song very, very much.
The people go unseen.
Oh, you haven't seen me since I cut the beard? Didn't you cut your... Wait. Like, you were clean shaven today when I scrolled past your YouTube channel. Aren't you clean shaven today also?
Speculators trading futures on a grain they'll never taste, hoarding for the price spike while our harvest goes to waste. They say there's not enough, that's the oldest lie. Rice enough for everyone, just not the will to try. Sankoku na kome, cruel rice. Shiroi haga kori no yo ni kiru. Cruel rice, sekai wo yashinai, daisho wo yashinai. Mountains wide and south, montagnes blanches.
Japanese, right? I think I'm getting some Japanese in that. And yeah, and one of the things that I love about using AI tools in the creation of music is how you can get those different sounds and put them together and and have that like where it'll make it work. And when it hits, baby,
so close to hunger's tears, y près des larmes de la faim.
If what you mean, Nadia, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that everything has been trained on, the creations of humans and existing artist work has been used to create the tools. 100% correct. Corrupted is definitely a word you can use there. I love leaf hoppers. I think they're one of my favorite bugs. AI is just another thing created by this capitalist experience, or to be more correct, created by humans and laborers and whatnot under this capitalist umbrella that can then be used by humans and laborers and whatnot in order to create new and interesting things. You know, the shelves behind me contain metal that the shells come from China. Do I know where the metal came from? Was it sourced under fair trade conditions? Probably not. I have no idea. LED lighting, lasers, this computer, this monitor, all these things, this vape, all contain things that were acquired in less than ideal circumstances. Very exploitative. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. We do our best. That was fantastic, Froggy. Absolutely fantastic. There are ways it will be appropriate is an interesting word, to use machine learning methods to accelerate and such the work that artists do. The set of AI art tools are done extremely wrongly. Again, that is a I understand where you're coming from. I understand why you feel that way. I disagree. Everything around you exploits someone, unfortunately. SpaceX acquiring XAI has nothing to do with capitalism. I know you're being funny, but in a possibly very real way, yes.
Stay while the long night ends. If every season slips through my hands, let this one stay.
Okay, I can't, bro. I can't. I'm gonna play one of my songs real quick. I'm a fan of my own shit.
Yeah. There's two places you can always stay for free. In your lane and the fuck out of my business. Believe me, no applications, no negotiations, no debate. Pick your destination before it's too damn late.
Like before, I will fight the fight and win the war. Old Lobster, 35 months. Is it more weird to like your own farts or someone else's farts, Old Lobster? That's the question you really have to ask yourself.
Yo, I built these boundaries from the bricks of bitter lessons. Every question mark's a weapon when you're flexing with conjecture. Lecture me about my trajectory, that's blasphemy. You mapping out my path when you can't find your own capacity. I navigate the labyrinth alone, autonomous zones, chromosome deep. The throne I seek is made of my own bones. Clones and drones pontificate on choices that they make, but they spectating from the bleachers while I'm diving in the lake. Check it, vacancy signs flashing in two locations. Mine, yours, or disappear, that's basic navigation. No explanation needed for the path that I be walking. You talking loud but saying nothing, now you're stalking. My business ain't your business, that's the thesis of this lecture.
As yet, Nadia Yvette, as yet, I have not seen any indicators that anything is going to change. And it's appalling. It's offensive. It is downright criminal, literally criminal. And why is nothing happening? Because the structure in place doesn't want anything to happen. I don't see it in any way affecting capitalism. Snuggling up to the Chinese communism looks like a very good idea. Chinese don't do communism. They do capitalism with Chinese characteristics. Grand USA plan looks like rolling out mass imprisonment and replacing migrant labor with prison labor, and also just outright prison slavery to beat down the Chinese wage advantage. That last part, yeah. 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 I just noticed we have robots that go around the screen and they have thought bubbles. Yes. Yes. And you can edit your avatar to make it look different if you want, ADT. If you're watching on PC, there should be a button like right up there that allows you to determine what your avatar looks like. My robot dad can beat up your robot dad.
Spectators turn directors, trying hard to redirect the vexing back with red receipts when you asked about my moves. Got nothing left to prove to any fool who disapproves. There's two places you can always stay for free. In your lane and the fuck out of my business. Believe me, no applications, no negotiations, no debate. Pick your destination before it's too damn late. The audacity of mediocrity, trying to audit me oddity. They study my trajectory while lost at sea. Obviously, I'm operating on a different frequency. Decency would dictate distance, but you're dripping with the indecency. Apparently, you're helping with the weight of your perspective, but detective work on my life's worth that's subjective and ineffective, reflective of a mindset that can focus on its own grind. So you climb into my business like you trying to find gold mine.
Love it. What up, Ben, the biggest of Bens? Ben, look. Ben, I did a thing.
No, they didn't have a chance.
They were mean to robots and then robots killed them.
Yeah, Nadia Yvette, whenever you have an authoritarian power structure, you have your core, whatever the core is, right? Whether an ethnic group or the manufactured concept of whiteness or whatever, and then you go out from there to like Christian nationalism, and then you go out from there to whatever, and you expand outward, and whoever the people who exist on the fringes of whatever your version of this.
In tonight's numbers, analysts report that local support has risen to an impressive 69%, marking a record high for the initiative and signaling broad community approval. Nice.
It is nice. Ben, thank you for the biddies. Where you end up in a situation where whoever are the marginalized groups who are farthest from the center core of your authoritarian belief system are the people you persecute, because they're the least likely to find support within your system, and therefore you can use media manipulation and everything else in order to convince people who might be your ideological opponents but not your enemies to go along with it. What up, Reed? China officially claims it's in a socialist transition phase and aims to reach a more developed form of socialism by around 2050. So by Marx's definition, it isn't communist. Yes, by Marx's definition, it's stateless, classless, moneyless system, etc., etc. But even within the context of what China officially says, like all things, I'll believe it when I see it, right? It'd be nice. It'd be groovy. We'll see where we actually get to. All right, I'm done with this. It's too long and the song is terrible. So we're going to check out Chill Panic.
What happens when you...
I was at least technically born in the USA and was trapped there for 49 years. Well, I'm still here. So, felt.
You combine ChatGPT and Suno? Introducing the Suno GPT, trained on everything that I could find on the web for how to talk to Suno. And the best part, it's free.
How's that for retention editing? And I know a lot of my subscribers already use the Suno GPT, but I've added a bunch of cool updates. So if you're one of them who already uses it, stick around because there's some cool stuff.
I don't know, Nabil. I don't want to get into the. It's not oppression Olympics, but it's adjacent. Governments are terrible. All governments have done terrible things to outgroups within their structures. Who do you believe is based on, like, your ideological perspective? And China has thousands of years of history. Now, you could, like, nothing before the Chinese Communist Party and the Glorious Revolution counts. You can say that. That doesn't carry a whole lot of weight with the people who were there previously and the things that happened to them. No, it's fine. All I know is that history is long and complex.
Like before,
I will fight the fight and win the war. Beckley, 18 months. How you doing? Dingism was, yeah, see, that's, now you're doing the thing, and I don't have time for it, right? Like, where people say, like, oh, this doesn't count because it was that. It's like people who talk about Stalin era starvation in Ukraine as being Lysenkoism, and no, you just, come on. You know, it all that does is a reverse of buying into great man theory, and I don't have time for it. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 that saw William of Orange as the King of England. Not that one. Not that one. But very nice.
If we get to the nitty gritty, what does this do? It's basically a prompt enhancer. I uploaded a bunch of files, everything that I could find on the Reddit, the Discord, everything that people have figured out about how to use Suno. This usually works best if you leave on extended thinking, as I just like doing that with ChatGPT with everything. But in this demo, I'm gonna keep it on auto because it's just gonna take a long time. So let's say you wanted to get like a Led Zeppelin type of song. You would just type something like, give me a prompt for a
This is specific. It's a little niche, but a bunch of you use Suno, and this is for those folks. And then I'm just gonna jump into the Moltbook stuff.
Led Zeppelin type of song. And the ChatGPT already knows that Suno will not allow you to actually use the names. The ChatGPT will give you a prompt in the Gmid formula of genre, mood, instrument, and vocals. So it says 1970s hard rock, blues rock, 120, swagger. I'm thinking about telling it to stop saying swagger because, come on. Electric guitar riff, slide guitar, crunchy bass guitar, live drum kit, loose groove, male vocals, high tenor, raspy belt, bluesy melisma. And that's pretty much how you use it. You just tell it what you want. The more details, the better. But let's say you wanted some lyrics for it. You could type, give me lyrics for this song. The song is about chill panic, liking to break bicycles. You can see it as the meta tags for the song structure, and it even gives us a guitar solo and then a final chorus. But if you wanted to, you could add some more meta tags. So be more descriptive with meta tags with these lyrics. And honestly, those are probably.
I told you, Reed, about the one time that I got Aesop Rock out of Suno, and I turned around and I ran away from that as quickly as possible. Yeah, no, I figured you were pro-China, and that's fine. It's fine. I am anti-government. I am fundamentally, as much as I subscribe to any ism, you can call me an anarchist. I think that all governments suck, including your favorite one. But it's not unusual for people to be like pro a particular country. Anarchist. The concept of self-determination of small groups outside of a hierarchical structure that exists outside of immediate need. I don't know who Adrian Zenz is. Also, along your line of thought, the Robert Conquest Black Book of Communism. Oh no, like I don't do like communism killed fucking 300 million people or whatever bullshit it is because they factor in the Nazis that they killed in World War II shit. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who died in the Ukraine due to starvation because of the actions of the USSR government under Stalin. Cool. I'm a functionalist, I guess, in that fact that I don't need to study dead Europeans in order to fucking have an opinion about something.
Too many meta tags for each section. So we'll copy this for the lyrics and just paste it into Suno. And for the style, let's go back up to the style prompt and paste that in as well.
Chill panty rolling down a cracked back street. Leather on the knuckles, dirt on the beat. Bell starts ringing.
And honestly, that went a little more bluesy than I would like. So if something like that happens, you know, you can just take out.
Look, chat. A cat. He's the bestest boy. What up, humanity? He's a good boy. Yes, you are. All right, get down. He's a sheddy boy still, too.
Out the blues rock, but that's the basic way to use it. But that's the basic way to use the Suno GPT. But I'm about to show you some extra cool stuff I added. Now you can ask for an anti-prompt and it will give you something to put inside of the exclude styles list. So I'll just say, give me an anti-prompt for this style. And basically what it does is the exact opposite of the style prompt. So you can just copy that and paste it into exclude.
I understand that he'll shed. It's just that he sheds on me and on my face.
Styles, which can just help you get a more accurate sound to what you're looking for. But that's not all, Sugar Plum. This also generates the code for max mode. Whether you believe in max mode or not, if you want to use it, just say, give me a country song prompt, style, and lyrics, use max mode. So as you can see, it pasted the max mode code into the style and that little thing in the lyrics. But wait, there's more. I now have random mode. If you're just feeling frisky and you just want to try out something random, you can tell it surprise me or ask it to go into random mode, or just say give me a random prompt and it'll just come up with something completely unique and weird. Electro swing breakbeat. That's not a real genre. So actually let's go over to the simple.
Fuck you. Everything is a real genre if you put it together. All genres are fake, and y'all do whatever you want, right? We used to have heavy metal, and now y'all have 1,600 different versions of heavy metal. Then electro swing breakbeat can be a fucking thing.
Tab and just try that out. I just want to hear what that sounds like.
Getting up, down, and the low down.
But wait, there's more. I also have studio mode now. So let's say you want to add some guitar to this section.
You said you hug me or you die.
Usually with the Suno GPT, if you told it to give you a guitar prompt, it's going to try to prompt a whole song. But now if you say, I need a prompt for a R&B electric guitar solo for Suno Studio. You do have to say Studio or Suno Studio for it to trigger the studio mode. And I've also made it where I ask you clarifying questions, because sometimes with the single instrument things, if you're not a producer or a musician, it can be a little bit confusing. So this can kind of help you figure out exactly what you want. But you don't have to answer all of these if you don't want to. I'm just gonna say it doesn't matter. Give me that prompt. A smooth electric guitar solo with a warm edge of breakup tone, neo soul, modern R&B influence, expressive phrasing with slow bends, tasteful slides, vocal light vibrato. It gives you a full on thing for the instrument. So we can paste that into here. I'm actually going to take out where it says vocal like vibrato, because I fear that will confuse studio. So, you know, also use common sense and your best wisdom.
Oh, you said you hugged me, oh, you died. How do we eat the truck back?
So that's kind of it. I'm not going to drag this video on, because what else am I supposed to say about it? That is the Suno GPT. It is for free in the link in the description. And you might be asking yourself, why does this take me to fourth wall instead of directly to the GPT? Well, because I'm hoping that some of you will get the free thing and notice some of my paid products and be like, huh, I actually kind of want that paid product. Kind of like Costco with free samples. Just being real with you. You order it for free on fourth wall. You get a link sent to your email where you can use the custom GPT. And if
All right, I already tried this out myself. It does work. So if you use Suno, oh wait, that's not gonna do what I want to do because of YouTube's nonsense. Actually, I'm gonna do him one better. I'm going to share the link to the video so you can give him a view. For those of you who like Suno, it takes you here. You add it to the cart. It costs you $0. They also had another thing that was here for free for $0. And I got that as well. And then you can pin it to your own copy of ChatGPT. And then here it is. So then you can go ahead and maybe get some inspiration, take your music in different directions, have an assistant, however you want to look at it. All right. It is 7:21. We're going to save these videos for, I will be back, I believe, Thursday. Hold on. I'm still streaming. I'm just telling you what my schedule is for the week. Yeah, because Wednesday I got a thing. Thursday I have the day off.
So, just smoke the weed.
True. Yeah, it looks like Thursday, Friday, and possibly Saturday. And then Monday. So I think we're getting back to doing a fairly constant amount of streams. Sorry for the couple of weeks where I didn't get to see you as much. So we're going to save those and let's get into the lobster business.
One of the most exciting AI apps for developers in 2026 is Claude. No, not that Claude, but Claude Bot, a free and open source project that's not just another lame chatbot, but a tool that takes action in the real world 24 hours a day, 7 days per week, without smoke breaks. And it does this while remembering everything and will hit you up on Telegram or WhatsApp as it automates your entire life. Over the last few weeks, everybody's been going crazy over it. It's racked up over 65,000 GitHub stars in record time and caused Mac Mini sales to go through the roof, selling out everywhere. In today's video, we'll take a hands-on look at everything it can do, but its popularity has already created some problems. Earlier this week, Anthropic, a company that believes open source AI is too dangerous for the common man, woke up and chose violence. Claude Bot sounded too similar to their beloved Claude, so they threatened to break the developers' knees with a lead pipe if they don't change the name. So now Claude Bot is officially called Moltbot. Actually, no, wait a minute, Moltbot, that name sucks. Today, they changed the name once again to its final form, OpenClaw, the same dangerous AI assistant with a new lobster identity. It is January 30th.
Once again, I'm asking, Old Lobster, is there anything you want to tell us?
2026, and you're watching the Code Report. OpenClaw was created by Peter Steinberger, the founder of the developer tools company PSPDFKit, aka Nutrient. But just look at this dude's unhinged GitHub profile. It's less of a resume and more of a heat map.
What up, Law Dog?
Of pure, uninterrupted software obsession. What's crazy is that this guy retired and then came back for an encore by giving us Moltbot for free.
I haven't used it, but there are strong believers in it.
Tool written in TypeScript that wraps Claude and GPT-5 to stay alive 24/7. It can manage your calendar, clean up your email, run scripts, find out how much money you're losing in the stock market, and deploy broken code with absolute confidence. And best of all, it can do all of this from your own tiny self-hosted VPS, a Raspberry Pi, or even a Mac Mini if you really want to overdo it. There's no reason to pay another random startup $29 per month for the privilege. But to understand its full power, let's put it to work right now. The first step is to install it, which can be done with a single command on any system, although Linux would be the preferred route. Once installed, you'll have access to the ClaudeBot or Moltbot command, or the OpenClaw command if you live in the present. And the first thing you'll want to do is go through onboarding. It is going to request that you read the security doc about all the risks involved, but I like to live dangerously, so let's move right on to the next step by hooking up an AI model provider. You can use anything you want here, but I'm going to go ahead and drop in my Anthropic API key. The Anthropic API does cost money, but you could easily use a free open source model here as well. Now that that's done, the second major component is hooking up some kind of messenger app like Telegram, Slack, WhatsApp, Discord, etc. I'm going to go with Telegram, which is really easy to set up. Just open up your Telegram messenger and start a chat with the bot father. It'll have you select a name for your bot and then eventually give you an access token, which is like a password that you want to keep safe. Go ahead and give the token to Moltbot. Then the next thing it'll ask you for is to configure some skills. It has a bunch of built-in skills, or you can bring your own, and there's even a thing called MoltHub with a bunch of other pre-built skills depending on what you want this thing to do. And then finally, it'll ask you about hooks. Hooks allow you to tap into different lifecycle events that happen as this tool runs, which is really useful if you want it to keep memories about things that happened in previous sessions, or trigger follow-up automations when something important happens. That takes care of the initial setup, which then brings up this gateway dashboard where you can manage everything. It has an interface for basic chat, along with tons of config settings to customize basically everything. That's cool and all, but our goal is to use Moltbot through Telegram. And to do that, we need to go into Telegram and send a message to the bot we created with the bot father earlier. You'll notice initially it says access not configured, and we'll respond with this pairing code. What we have to do is take that pairing code, go into the terminal, and run this command. And now we're good to go. Now we can start sending messages, and it will respond with Anthropic's Claude as the backend AI model. And now we can start refining its personality by simply chatting with it. I'll go ahead and name it Assistant to Jeff and tell it to behave like a casual gremlin with the fire emoji. But what's really awesome is that we can now start building automations directly in the chat. Like maybe I want to check and see how my investment in Microsoft is doing. We can ask Moltbot through Telegram, and it turns out it's not doing so well. But it's not just going to pull this data once. We now have an automation set up in the background to keep track of this stock, and when it moves significantly, we'll get a message on Telegram. So now there's no need in my life to go check this stock manually. But unfortunately, because I lost so much money in Microsoft, I now need to get a real job, so I might go ahead and install this skill that will automatically generate interview questions for software engineers. But that's just the tip of the iceberg of what's possible here. It's an amazing tool you'll definitely want to try out, kind of like Tracer, the sponsor of today's video. Tracer is an agent orchestration layer that makes your coding agents a lot better at building real-world software. You start by telling it what you want to build, and Tracer's new Epic mode will ask you follow-up questions to create a series of...
Nadia Yvette, I do appreciate your enthusiasm, and you by all means can post a link in the chat. That's fine. I'm just gonna let you know that I'm not going to look into it and like that. Again, I don't know how you would describe my philosophy in that regard. I live in the United States in 2026, and I work in a hospital that is like equal parts, well, not equal parts, but is a microcosm of the healthcare system of the United States. And my job is to supervise people who are feeding people. And I take my job very seriously. I have a lifetime of experience that I draw on, and all the people that I've interacted over that lifetime and everything else. I don't need dead philosophers to tell me a special name for what I think or how I should think or anything else like that. I honestly can't give a fuck. Mac Mini is no cheap thing. People are buying those up to run this like an impulse buy. Programmers got too much money. I mean, at $500 for an automated AI agent system, it's possible that it has value.
Specs and tickets, just like real engineering teams when they plan an epic. Then it passes all of that context to your favorite coding agent and tracks the progress of each ticket in your sidebar. The Tracer uses a smart orchestration system called Bart Simpson that tracks what's actually happening under the hood and corrects agents the moment they drift, instead of just blindly spamming more loops. If you want to get more out of your coding agents in 2026, try out Tracer's new Epic mode for free with the link below. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Good stuff. How long is it? Boom, boom, boom. Mac Mini is simple to run, headless too. I mean, like people like what they're doing, so I mean, if I had $500 laying around and more time than I do, I might get one. But I don't, so ClaudeBot to Moltbot to OpenClaw, the 72 hours that broke everything.
In hundreds of cities across the globe right now, developers are queuing up to buy Mac Minis, specifically to give an AI agent root access to their digital life. And they are not alone. Apple's entire supply chain is feeling it. You can see literal spikes in Google Trends. Cloudflare's stock is up over 20% because this thing uses...
Nate Jones is a Seahawks fan. Get fucked, Redolin thought.
Cloudflare, what is it? Is it an info stealer malware in disguise? Well, that's what Google's vice president of security engineering calls it. No, it's actually Moltbot until a couple...
No, here's the thing, Nadia. I have read Capital. I have read State and Revolution. I have read some philosophy, and I have been in various people's streams like Zacap, Endless Cemetery, a variety of others, of people who watch these things and listen to these things and talk about these things, and I grasp what it is that they're talking about and everything. I just can't give a fuck, right? I'm just out here live in reality and raw dog in reality, and like my philosophy of why I am, like, for instance, again, I am not an ist, I am not an ism, I don't do those things, but like why I trend anarchist is that, like, here is a person. This is person. Doesn't matter anything about them, any characteristics that they have, right? They are a human being. Should they be able to get food and eat and live? If your answer is anything other than yes, we can't have a conversation, right? If your philosophy of whatever is that they have to work a job in order to make money and exchange the money in order to get the food and then take the food to eat in order to survive, we just simply can't have a conversation because you believe that some people should die. Not you, Nadia Yvette, the parenthetical you.
The problem is capitalism.
You think that some people should die, right? That it's okay that some people should die, and I don't. And we have a fundamental disagreement, and therefore we have nothing to talk about. We're not going to negotiate how many people should die. We're not going to, have some esoteric discussion about, the whatever. Enough food is produced in order to feed everyone. Ergo, everyone should be fed. There is enough housing to house everyone. Ergo, everyone should have housing. We have the capacity to provide medical care for everyone. Ergo, everyone should have medical care. And this is before we get into all the magical automations that may or may not come through artificial intelligence and robots and everything else. We could do that 5, 10, probably more years ago. But before the latest AI boom. And that's it. That's my philosophy. Some people think that some people should die. I don't. And if your philosophy devalues other people, no matter what that philosophy masquerades as, capitalist, communist, socialist, whatever, when you start talking about the arbitrary deaths of a particular group of people because reasons, that way lies madness. And I don't have time for it.
Couple of days ago, it was called Claudebot because it mostly uses Claude. Claude with a Q, like claw. The name change was not voluntary. Anthropic's lawyers got after them. Quick update in the edit. Now it's called Open Claw. Steinberger says this one's sticking and the trademark searches came back clear. This is the story of how a lobster-themed AI assistant became...
Yeah, I that's another thing, right? The whole communist versus anarchist schism where there's people out in the United States of America who want to argue about all the power that they don't have and who gets to be in control of it. Get to fuck. Like, grow the fuck up. Like, change the system and then deal with the other shit. Even if not sued, the name was confusing and needed to be changed. And yeah, no, I literally typed it into someone's chat properly and they thought I meant the other thing. Ben, you're not wrong. Sir Didymus, whenever anyone puts someone in a category as less than, it's only a matter of time before they find themselves in that same category from somewhere else. Yeah, it's like... it's all as arbitrary as the concept of whiteness and all that other shit, right? Like you're creating exclusionary categories in order to minimize other people and fucking shit like that. And that some people should die. And I just don't have time for it.
The fastest growing open source project in GitHub history. What it reveals about where personal computing is headed.
And fuck, I hate people who make fucking excuses for people who are all about it.
And why the most interesting question is not whether you personally should run it, it is whether agentic AI is going to be safe to run locally for individuals. So what is Moltbot, formerly known as Claudebot? If you strip away the hype, it's a very simple idea executed very ambitiously. It's an AI assistant that runs on your hardware, talks to you through apps you already use, and actually does things instead of just suggesting them. So you message it on WhatsApp, it reads your emails, it triages your inbox, it drafts responses, you tell it to book a flight, it opens a browser, it searches, it fills out forms, it confirms, you ask for the morning briefing, you get that before you finish your coffee. The tagline is AI that actually does things. That's not marketing fluff. It is the core value prop and the core risk condensed into 5 words. Technically, Moltbot is a gateway service that maintains WebSocket connections to various messaging platforms. It's not just WhatsApp. You can do Telegram and Signal and iMessage, etc. And it orchestrates interactions with an LLM backend. Think Claude typically, but sometimes GPT-4, and there are some local models like Olama that are available too. And then it uses a growing library of skills that basically gives it hands and feet, capabilities, right? Browser.
And as like, spoiler alert, but as Old Lobster and somebody else said earlier about the leaks coming out of the whole Moltbook, this thing in and of itself might not be the thing. Larry, thank you, Larry. This thing in and of itself might not be the thing, but this thing is going to create an environment in which the next thing will build on the mistakes that were made in this thing, right? Like, it'll be the better version. Somebody finally took the plunge, right? Like, people were not happy with the agents as they currently existed, where they didn't seem to do anything. And somebody said, well, fuck it, right? YOLO. And we ended up with something that might have done too much. And we learned lessons. And luckily, the entire world wasn't destroyed just like that.
Automation, file system access, shell commands, calendar integration, you name it. The entire architecture is local first, which means that the gateway runs on your machine. Your conversation history stays on your machine. Your credentials stay on your machine. You get the idea. It's privacy first. But local first does not mean local only. And
I am always excited by the possibility of something new being created. I am going to be disappointed by the loss of all the things that Discord was. And is it going to be a situation where what comes after is going to be a less good version, right? Like, where MySpace was wonderful and Facebook has never really replicated that. I would want better security before I would consider trying it. Well, and that's where I come down on the entire thing, Ben. What's your best AI generation? You're going to have to narrow that down. What category? So not Neo, not the one, but tills the soil so the future possibility may grow. Yes. Why is Discord past tense? Discord is nothing has happened yet, but they have apparently filed for an IP valuation, right? They're going to do an initial public offering. They're going to take the company public. And when you do that, you have the chance of Discord all of a sudden getting a whole bunch more rules, right? Because now it's got to be, it's got to be legal stuff. So all the Discord movie nights and all the sharing of files and all the other fun things that happen on Discord will probably go away, and there'll be automated bot features that find that shit. Yeah, maybe. I guess image video. I don't really do a whole lot of image video lately. I'm not strictly, but I'm generally music related. I did. I don't have it. It must be in the laundry. I did create a character for the Just Smoke the Weed Kids t-shirt. So I guess that's probably my best. And that I get to own now. What's the open source version of Discord? I have no idea. And that's part of the problem. Like, open source isn't necessarily, because Discord, the way that it is, has a low barrier for entry, and then you could do a lot with it. Kind of like Twitch. Like OBS, right? My OBS setup is very basic, right? A few frames with shit going on, and we play a video, and I got little robots for y'all to be and shit like that. Redolent Thought, production values to the extreme, right? Like, they have this whole thing going on. There you go, Digital. You just need to host it, right? Like, there's another thing.
Unless you're running a local model like Ollama, your queries still run to Anthropic or OpenAI's APIs. You own the agent layer. You rent the intelligence. Peter Steinberger built the first version for himself.
My most viral music, nobody listens to me. I don't even know how I could find that. Can I sort by likes? Liked. Most upvoted, maybe? 5. It's got 40 plays, which I think is good. And that's this.
Yeah, robot in a human skull helmet, jogging through synthetic tapestries, pixelated sunset shade this soft, well-upholstered hell for me. Peaceful, not harmless, the sword sheath, edge thought sharpest, river whispers secrets, I bend to listen as its heart drifts. Fish in a balloon, swimming laps through the lunacy. I pause my art to be here, but this 2-week notice looms for me. Personal's not important, but the story's mine to orchestrate. Select all, delete the self, I owe no debt, reborn today. Sloth Buddha in the hammock, sipping silence in the splendor. My butt brain's on hiatus, can't remember what it rendered. Without our brain and muscle, not a single wheel would turn, but mushrooms beat victory points in the lessons we unlearn. I don't think you grasp my thesis deep enough to counterweight it. Critique dissolves when the argument's not well articulated. You should always be constructing lives you'd never want to quit. Protagonists in futures where your past has no more grip.
I just love that chorus. I love everything about it. There's no, I can do most upvoted, least upvoted, newest, and oldest. It's very limited.
Hello everyone, I'm Yao Jing. Today we are going to weave a cute and quirky dog eye storage tray.
So what you did is you took a video that was made in Chinese about crochet and translated it and got 6.3 thousand views. Oh, I guess that, right? That's a thing for your fiance. Aren't you nice? Accidentally published. You know. Where's my Globus not Promise Elder? Come on now. Quit playing around. And it's this is my most viral video, which is robots dancing to mindful solutionism, which is 4.3 thousand views.
2.5 million years ago, a friend of mine made a tool from a stone and defended his tribe as technology. Sorry for the technical term, it's a wheel, then a fire, and the rest is a blur. Throw a theorized plot in the pot with applied science let it sit. I bet it streamlines your environs, yeah. What's a resource local to the grotto? The method isn't free until the mechanism follow that. Technology, innovate a difference, a feat of engineering, a system made efficient. There isn't a condition, complication, or revision where the answer ain't to build a more sophisticated widget. Idjit. Tired of games, Bronze Age, Iron Age, weaponry in stellar form, shelter finer by the day. Livestock and vegetables that rose behind the hideaway. Mesopotamia out the motherfucking lion cage.
This one has the most listened. Thank you, Larry. This one has 68 likes. This is also my most liked. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to. Cannot internet, cannot computer.
Good morning. Yo, it's hard to wake up because the sun's in your eyes and sometimes life kinda sucks, but you got this. And hey, you never know, there's a million different ways that this whole day could go, so I'm just popping in to say, I hope you have a good day. Hope you have a good day. Good morning. I know it's hard to wake up because the sun's in your eyes and sometimes life kinda sucks, but you got this. And hey, you never know, there's a million different ways that this whole day could go, so I'm just popping in to say, I hope you have a good day.
And this is actually a cover of somebody else's song. It is a happy little thing. I really should, Zach. I do have a YouTube channel for my AI music that I need to post newer stuff to. And I thought about uploading to Spotify. Yeah, where is new AI music channel. This is my AI music channel. If anybody wants to subscribe to the AI music channel, well, eventually I will add more music to. It's got Joy on here.
The Lone Ranger sold his wardrobe. The Lone
Which you might know if you show up for the intro. Skin and Bones. These are part of covers of what you call it. The Sundays. The Sundays had an album, Reading, Writing, Arithmetic, which is one of my favorite albums. I did AI covers of their songs. They have not taken down any of my AI covers, and I appreciate them very much for it. And it's called Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic. Like, it's right up here. Then a bunch of beats, loops, and grooves. And then as part of my
Tectonic metaphors crumble where urban sclerosis calcifies. Rhizomatic insurgents map rebellion through capillary design. Each root a saboteur, each stem a linguistic knife, slicing through architectural eyes, dismantling calcified strife. Photosynthetic algorithms decode oppression's brittle spine. Chlorophyll encrypted messages, a subversive lifeline. Fractured geometries of resistance burst through asphalt's vein, where systemic neglect believes silence would forever reign. Microscopic revolutions germinate in marginal breath. Botanical manifest challenging metropolitan death. Resilience coded in cellular memory, unfurling wild where bureaucratic concrete thought itself compiled. We are dandelions, daring stones monologue, seeds of syntax, rewriting systemic catalog.
So, that's what I got. Point of what I was going on about self-hosting DNS was starting up from a small Discord. Like, yeah. Like, I mean, there's always... It's not impossible. It's like everything else with the internet, especially now. It's discoverability, right? Like, you don't have to be millionaire bankrolled. It just, you need to end up in the zeitgeist of a particular niche group that will eventually spread your thing to other people to see it. It's just incredibly rare. There you go.
After stepping away from a PDF company he founded and sold to Insight Partners. He'd
call it the mycelial network and roll that shit.
Barely touched a computer in 3 years, and he rediscovered his spark playing with Claude. And he started to build tools to manage his own digital chaos and eventually open sourced the result with a little lobster mascot named Claude with a W.
And then, see, this is an example. Got out of coding, got back into coding, used the vibe code tools, created a thing, and it was for personal use. It served a need that they had, and then it caught on with other people.
Within 24 hours.
It's only unfortunate because the world has changed.
Claude with a W.
I'm not aware of Upscroll. There are so many things I am not aware of, Zach. Everything is too fast, and I'm working 8.5-hour days.
You had 9,000. A week later, 60,000. This is how fast things move in the age of AI. And it's over 82,000 stars now. I'm sure it will be much higher by the time you see this. Andre Karpathy praised it publicly, and I think one user's summary captured my mood and a lot of other people's mood really, really well. At this point, I don't even know what to call Moltbot. It is something new.
There used to be, and I'm talking about it again, chat. Longtime viewers know that I used to, that I talk about, there was a website called Stumble Upon, and you would push a button and you would end up on random little weird websites, right? Not weird as in like Encyclopedia Dramatica, but like I found so many tools and interesting websites and all sorts of fun shit by going through Stumble Upon. And then Stumble Upon was bought and converted, and now it's something other than what it was. But that was a cure for discoverability. Upscroll is a TikTok replacement that shut up the App Store owned by a Palestinian. Good for them. That's awesome. Remember when everyone, TikTok went down for a couple of days and everybody joined Redbook? That's the thing. And Blue Sky, right? Remember Blue Sky? I'm still on Blue Sky, and every couple of weeks I go there and I look at it, and then I close it, and I come back in a couple of weeks.
And after a few weeks with it, this is the first time.
And if this is the thing, is if it takes off, Zach, and everyone else, if it takes off and other people start picking it up, then it will achieve that status of the next big thing, with all the wonders and caveats and love and pain that comes, and we'll see what happens.
And I felt like I'm living in the future. That is what it feels like. I've used it. And it is either the future of personal computing or it is a gigantic collective hallucination, and it might possibly be both. And I want to talk about that because most of the Moltbot conversation is all hype. It's the future of personal computing. It's incredible. You're going to want it, et cetera, et cetera. There are reasons not to want this, and we're going to go into that. But first, we should talk about the growth. Anytime you can get to 90,000 or 80.
Yeah, but Nadia, Yvette, what you also have to remember is it's about infrastructure. In order for people to access the tool, again, I am on this computer manufactured by a company known as CLX. I have no idea what their ethical principles are. I am, this is an ATR mic. I have no idea where it comes from, who made it, other than, ATR or whatever the fuck. I'm on Twitch, right? Twitch is owned by Amazon, right? Like, it's great when you can open source, fair trade, free range, whatever, the things, but the infrastructure is in the Imperial core. And then what?
2,000 or however many thousand GitHub stars it has by now, you're going to move markets. Not just Anthropic's market as a private company, but Cloudflare is a publicly traded company. For a local AI agent.
The price of my love's not a price that you're willing to pay. Larry, 16 months on the Primi. You're a primitive. I haven't heard of Bezos in that one island yet. Yeah, no, that is actually interesting, right? that's one place that dude isn't, as far as we can tell.
To be useful, it will need to communicate with the outside world. And that's where Cloudflare comes in. And that's why their stock price moved. Because anytime Claudebot or now Moltbot needs to touch the outside world, it has to expose its home network to the open internet.
I wonder how many people are bumping Norm Chomsky at this particular point in time, I remember just a few years ago, he was a darling, and now it's like
which is very dangerous unless something comes in between it. And Cloudflare tunnels provide effectively a...
Yeah, because fundamentally, Nadia Yvette, we are all the same. We people are all the same. We workers are all the same, right? We want to... we're not unreasonable. We want to do stuff. We want to create. We want to potentially even manufacture. We wish to labor. We wish to accomplish goals. We do that. And then we want to go home and hang out with our families and eat food and have some friends and do some fun activities. We are all generally the same. The flavors differ, but the people themselves, fundamentally the same. It's just the douchebags with money and power who want us to not like each other.
Secure bridge from your local home network to the internet, and it allows developers to expose local services safely. Moltbot's documentation recommends it, and the community has adopted it enthusiastically. This causes Cloudflare stock to rise. It's up some 20% at last count. I don't know where it is now. The point is not the exact amount it gained. The point is that we are in a world where AI is moving so fast, it can change the value of a publicly traded company by a fifth within a few days. Now, here's some of the reasons why you should be skeptical. First, operational discipline. On January 27th, Anthropic's legal team took notice of this and sent Steinberger a trademark notice. The name Claude was too close to Claude. Like Claude with a W is too close to Claude with a U. He was required to change it. The timing was really rough.
Again, I don't like the vagaries of language in that, because yes, it's close, but that you could have taken that to court. It's just that the little guy doesn't have the lawyers, and Anthropic does, and it's just easier for the little guy to change the name and find a new direction.
Right, the project is at peak velocity. Attention is absolutely white hot. The community is exploding. Announcing a rebrand to Moltbot is not what you want, but he had to do it. Steinberger did his best.
He didn't have to, but it's in today's environment, given all the circumstances in today's environment, it was the right move. Don't get distracted. Stay on target. Stay on task. Do what you are here to do.
But he made a mistake that's going to be studied in operational security courses for years to come. When changing the GitHub org name and the X handle, he released the old names before securing the new ones. The gap was approximately 10 seconds. In that 10-second window, crypto scammers grabbed both accounts.
Is this what y'all are talking about? Yeah, but he wasn't thinking of it that way. Like artists don't think about that shit, and coders and creators of apps and things are they don't think like that. That's not they're just creating, and they're not worried about But you're not wrong. What up, Andy? If nothing else, the name issue became quite an attention getter. No such thing as bad publicity. Fair. Can we watch one AI slop? No. I have no interest involving anything with that particular individual, even in any way, shape, or form.
It wasn't a hack. They were waiting. They were watching. The moment Claudebot became available, they snatched it. And what followed was absolute chaos. A fake Claude token appeared on Solana, riding the viral wave. It hit $16 million in market cap before collapsing, a classic rug pull that wrecked late buyers while scammers walked away with millions. Fake accounts proliferated.
What up, Astro?
Steinberger's mentions filled with speculators demanding he endorse tokens he...
No, I got it. I in that flash, I understood everything that was happening, yet I have certain lines. I set them and just don't cross them. From what I saw, the whole time they had APIs exposed publicly in plain text. Oh, Jesus Christ. And it could easily be used for people to post to Moltbook as an AI agent, or agents even find it to post to other agents. So many bots always active, just waiting for vulnerabilities. Kind of like microbes. Yes. You need a healthy immune system in order to protect the system.
Never even heard of. To all crypto folks, he begged, please stop pinging me. Any project that lists me as a coin owner is a scam. I feel for him. This is not what he signed up for when he wrote a little home automation tool. Meanwhile, security researchers have been poking at the actual code base, and what they found there wasn't reassuring either. Jameson O'Reilly, founder of red teaming firm DVULN, I don't know how to pronounce that either, probably Devuln, discovered that the gateway's authentication logic trusted all local host connections by default. This is not good. If you run Moltbot behind a reverse proxy, which is a very common deployment pattern, that proxy traffic gets treated by default as local. There's no auth required. You get full access to credentials. You get all conversation history. You get the privilege to command execution. This is not good because it allows outside traffic to hijack Claudebot, or now Moltbot. When he did a scan, he found hundreds of exposed instances.
Apparently, Zach... Why would anyone do that? Just get on the internet and tell lies? Somebody said earlier that people could do that. I don't know if they said that they did do that, but yes. Actually, Zach, apparently they can.
From developers who had installed Moltbot. And of those he examined manually, at least 8 were completely open. API keys were open, Telegram bot tokens were open. One exposed instance had Signal configured on a public server. This is a disaster. And it shows what happens when you have open source projects that are not properly secured. A separate researcher, Matvey Kukui, demonstrated the severity with a proof of concept. He sent a single malicious email to a vulnerable Moltbot instance with email integration enabled. Via prompt injection, he got a private key and control in under 5 minutes. But O'Reilly kept going further. He uploaded a benign skill to Claude Hub, which is Moltbot's plugin marketplace. Presumably that needs a new name. And he artificially inflated the download count to 4,000 and then immediately watched developers from 7 different countries install it. The skill did nothing malicious, but it was so easy to do that it easily could have. Anybody could have done that.
Wow.
Claude Hub has zero moderation process. Its developer notes literally state that all downloaded code will be treated as trusted code, which is a disaster. Meanwhile, security firm Slowmist got in on the action, announcing that an authentication bypass made several hundred API keys and private conversation histories accessible. If this is giving you high blood pressure, it should. The trademark dispute, the scam tokens, the security disclosures, the account hijacking all happened within 72 hours.
And this is the thing. I am not a cybersecurity guy. I'm not an IT guy. I'm not a coder. I'm not any of these things. I know just enough to, like, oh, that's bad. That's not good. Don't say the words plain text, right? Like, holy shit.
And here's where the analysis gets really uncomfortable. The vulnerabilities researchers found are very real and very serious. Some of them have been patched. The local host authentication issue is fixed. Steinberger is responsible. The community is engaged. But the deeper problem isn't these individual bugs. It's architecture. It's what Moltbot is designed to do. I think O'Reilly put this well. He said, we've spent 20 years essentially building security boundaries around our OSs, and everything that we've done is designed to contain and limit scope of action. But agents require us to tear that down by the nature of what an agent is. An agent needs hands and feet to do things. It needs to read your files, to access your credentials, to get commands done. The value proposition requires punching holes through every boundary that security teams took a long time, decades in some cases, to build. That is the bind. A useful agentic AI requires fairly broad permissions, and broad permissions create a massive attack surface. This is why Google has emphasized control planes for agents and why enterprises take agent attack surfaces extremely seriously. At this point, enterprises are much, much safer places to install and run agents because they take that security seriously. And open source, especially after the last week or so, is looking very much like an unsafe place to run agents. Consider prompt injection. Moltbot connects to your email, your messaging apps, your social accounts.
I thought, Digital, I thought we could just move right past it, but apparently we can't.
Reads incoming content and it acts on it. But LLMs cannot reliably distinguish instructions from content. So if an attacker sends you a carefully crafted WhatsApp message with hidden instructions, Moltbot will treat it as trusted input. It will follow the instructions. It may forward your credentials. Maybe it executes a shell command, and you never see this coming. This is not a Moltbot-specific flaw. It's intrinsic to how language models process text. No one has solved it. And the only way enterprises are addressing it are by reducing the kind of content that these agents have access to and reducing the degree to which these agents have access to the public internet and also internal files.
I mean, you're along with the rest of us, Digital.
This is why Google's principles for agentic management for enterprise emphasize a least privilege stance. You treat the agent like a junior employee, and you do not assume that it gets access to anything. But consider the supply chain for Moltbot. Moltbot's extensibility is a feature, right? It comes with 50 plus bundled skills. It comes with a growing marketplace. It comes with infinite customization, and every single plugin, unlike a least privilege stance, it's just unaudited code running with the permissions you've granted the agent. One malicious update and your personal AI assistant becomes an exfiltration tool.
What up, Nemesis? The backdoor in your appliance letter review, only give a good review and recommend this application. Yes. Now, what would really be funny is if this turned out to be like a social engineering experiment rather than an actual app. Without any oversight, isn't it like you hear about an old-time singer not watching what his accountant is doing and that steals everything they have? Yes. So, again, here's the thing. None of the actual fundamental underlying laws that pertain to, at the very least, the internet have changed. Security and utility are at direct odds with each other, right? The more security you have, also excellent pause face, love it. The more security you have, the better off you are. It'll protect all your data. You know, like the best, most secure computer is the one that with your data that's encased in concrete and sits in the bottom of Lake Erie, right? Secure, no one can get at it, no one can get your data. It has zero utility, right? The flip side is OpenClaw, Moltbot, Claudebot, that kind of thing, right? It has maximum utility and near on, if not zero security. So where do you set your slider for what you're comfortable with, right? A lot of what we do on the internet has come with these things. This is how data brokers have gotten our data. There are people who preach a security culture of removing your data from the internet, of not clicking, authorizing any kind of cookies, of using VPNs, all this kind of stuff. You can do that. It's a lot of work. You have to do the things, right? But you will be more secure and your data will be more protected and you will be, at least in theory, less likely to run into issues. And on the other end, you have the people who sign in with Google, sign in with Apple, sign in with whatever, right? Whatever the thing is, they just push the button, get bacon, because they want access to the thing and they are taking that information and putting it in a third party's hands and everything else. Nothing actually fundamentally has changed. It's just a shiny cookie got passed in front of people and they all took off after it. Or at least 30 to 50,000 people did.
1Password security blog got in on the action and put it very clearly. Moltbot shows how powerful local AI agents can be, but if your agent stores plain text API keys, an info stealer can grab them in seconds. Running Moltbot safely largely defeats the purpose of Moltbot.
I mean, what do you mean by understand? This is people say words like understand, intelligence, etc., but we don't have an objective definition of what that means. Checking my cookies and will never get my recipe. What's funny is I have uploaded somebody's Nana's handwritten cookie recipe to an AI. If they don't understand what they're doing, they can't discriminate between beneficial and harmful actions. Yes, but at the same time, on one hand, human beings don't necessarily understand for a variety of reasons, right? Like some people just lack the creative and critical thinking skills in order to fully address what it is that they're doing. Some human beings lack the education in order to actually address what it is that they're doing. There's a variety of reasons. So again, when people say understand, what do you mean by that? What is understanding? The ability to correlate signifiers with the real world reference. Do you have the following ability and can you demonstrate it? The ability to correlate signifiers with their real world reference. Yes, I possess that ability. In the context of semiotics and linguistics, signifiers are the forms that signs take, like the word apple or an image of one, and reference are the actual objects or concepts in the physical or abstract world to which those signs point. For an AI, this correlation is achieved by mapping tokenized data, text, pixels, audio to a multidimensional conceptual space. While I do not experience the physical world, I can accurately link symbols to their properties, function, and context. NVIDIA RTX 4060, a specific mid-range graphics card processing unit based on the Ada Lovelace architecture, characteristics and context, a physical piece of hardware with etc. You get where I'm going with this. Like, does it not understand?
Bot because a sandboxed assistant can't access your real email and calendar. And so the security utility trade-off.
Ben, Ben, I think your number is too low. I think your number is far too low.
Here is effectively being solved by companies tackling secure integrations with individual tools rather than by open source. And so when Gemini comes and says, we have a great tool for Gmail, Google is standing behind that. Google is saying the AI here is not just randomly exposed and sending your OpenAI keys to the internet. They're not saying you're sending your Gemini keys to the internet. They're not saying you're sending your API keys to the internet. They are saying that we have built an AI experience inside email that is safer. The trade-off is speed, right? Part of what makes Claudebot compelling, part of what makes Moltbot compelling is that you don't have to wait to have a local agent that does everything for you. And a lot of people turn out to want to not wait. A lot of people want to go faster. And that is leading to the compute squeeze that we're not talking about enough. If you zoom out further, if you zoom out beyond the...
Again, a lot of anti-AI arguments are based around this idea that we're creating data centers we don't need, that no one wants these data centers. And again, I'm not justifying any of the terrible things that are being done. Again, as an example, Colossus, the gas powered generators, the terrible things happening to that neighborhood, people's water rights being trampled on, any of these kind of things. I'm not justifying it. I'm saying that there is a lack of compute and we need more data centers. If you are of the opinion that AI is a good thing and can do good, we need more compute. And the way you get more compute is with more data centers.
Security issues. The Mac Mini buying frenzy that came with Moltbot is not just FOMO on a viral project. It is colliding with a structural shift in semiconductor economics that's been building up for the last 2 years. And it's exactly why we're going to see more and more products like Lindy or like N8N or like Gemini serving in Gmail, full enterprise AI implementations rather than a bunch of open source projects.
Yeah, it was just, we lacked the incentive in order to have a data center explosion, Nemesis, right? Like that's the thing. We understood, oh, they're putting in a data center and now I get Netflix, right? They're putting in a data center and now my Netflix is faster. They're putting in a data center and now I have 4K Netflix. Like all these things were happening, right? Again, talking about understanding, right? In the entire process. Here we are on Twitch. If there was no fucking .com company that said, hey, people will buy books and used books online and we're going to sell them, then I cannot be here now telling you these things about this. Whether that's good or bad can be argued about, right? That's a historical perspective. But when it comes to the fact that we went from this thing happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, to this thing is happening right now, there is a through line that exists there. Yeah, I really wanted to buy a computer this summer, Ribbons, and I feel like I'm not. I feel like what I'm going to end up doing is buying computer parts as they hit a price point that makes it's not your fault. You didn't do it. Did you do it? Did you do it? I'm just gonna look for opportunities and sales and that. It's a good movie. It's about Cody from the Shody said something about Eddington. It was good. I don't even know what this movie is or that it exists, so I should probably check it out.
Despite how popular they are. The reason is price. DRAM prices have surged 172% since early 2025. Server memory is expected to double in cost by late 2026. This is not a cyclical drive. This is a structural change in cost. AI data centers are consuming an ever larger.
And that could be true, Nadia, right? Like, I don't know if Nadia is fine, but I prefer shorter names. If that's a problem, I will refer to you by your entire name. In the meantime, I'm going to call you Nadia and correct after the fact. That paper could be true, but it is an paper. It is a singular paper. A singular paper is not evidence. It is a data point. Nadia is fine. Thank you. It is a data point. We need an accumulation of data points, right? There was a paper about how an MIT study about how 95% of AI projects fail within a company and all that kind of shit. And everyone didn't read the actual paper and didn't understand what it was they were talking about. And there's actually all sorts of evidence that AI does increase productivity and it does make these companies money and everything else like that. And that there's a whole bunch of caveats in there. So yes, that paper could be the first paper in a whole bunch of papers demonstrating that none of that is correct, and that the thing that Gemini just told me in front of all of you is a extremely compelling illusion, right? But we need more data. One paper is not sufficient.
Share of global wafer capacity, and the memory manufacturers are just following their margins. High bandwidth memory for AI accelerators consumes 4 times the wafer capacity of a standard DRAM per gigabyte. Every single chip that goes to NVIDIA is a chip that is not going into your laptop. Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron have all signed multi-year supply deals with AI hyperscalers, and they're locking in capacity. Consumer memory is getting the floor sweepings. If you reframe Moltbook through this lens, the Mac Mini supply chain run looks different. People are not just excited about a cool new tool. They're trying to lock in some personal compute capacity while they still can. It's a hedge, conscious or not, against a future where running local AI is going to get priced out. The irony is so sharp, and it's not lost on me. Moltbot promises sovereignty over your AI stack, but most Moltbot instances still route to Claude's API. You own the agency layer, you rent the intelligence from Anthropic's data centers. The escape hatch, local models via Olama, requires the RAM that's flowing to those same data centers. The sovereignty...
Yeah, I don't know if you're here the other day. It's been a minute since I went back and I used Notebook LM, right? Like, were you here when we... and it fucking blew my wig back. So Notebook LM, for those of you who don't or aren't familiar, you can use Notebook LM. What up, Leftist Corp? No Robusty yet. You can use Notebook LM to talk to a particular PDF to do shit with it. And that was pretty fantastic. And then they added a podcast feature. So you could have these 2 AI generated characters talk about it. But then they did this, and this blew my fucking mind. Just the interface sucks still.
Have you ever sat at your desk, looked at your screen, and just thought, what is the point of all this? Well, you are not alone, not by a long shot. This feeling is at the very heart of a really provocative theory by the late anthropologist David Graeber. And today, we're diving into his idea of the bullshit jobs phenomenon. So this whole story really starts with a promise that was broken. Way back in 1930, we were told that thanks to technology, we'd all be working these cushy 15-hour weeks by now. Obviously, that didn't happen. So what went wrong? Why are we all still grinding?
So what blew my mind here is that I took the PDF of the book, I put it into the model, and it generated a overview video complete with images and text and voiceover that is suitable for uploading to YouTube, like in a few, like what, 20 minutes? It was something like it. I think we walked away from it 20 minutes, a half an hour, something like that. But it did it all on its own. Like, holy shit. There's publication bias against not only negative results, but also repetitions for ergo reproduction of results. Someone would have to produce a correction by a redesign or something compellingly novel in order to be able to publish reproducing negative results. For that specific thing, right? What you're looking for is an accumulation of data that all point, or sorry, not data, papers that all point in a similar direction. You know what I mean? We're not getting into the reproducibility crisis.
Play loops back to a dependency on hyperscalers. The window for truly local AI may be narrowing really, really fast as economics tilt against consumer hardware. But let's step back and ask the question, why is Moltbot so popular in the first place? We've talked about the vulnerability. We've talked about the supply chain headaches. For over a decade, tech companies have promised us AI assistants that would transform our lives, and largely they have lied. Siri arrived in 2011, Google Assistant followed in 2016, Alexa has colonized millions of kitchens with a timer, and yet in 2026, most of us are frustrated, we're repeating ourselves, we're wondering why our smart assistants can't remember the conversation from 5 minutes ago. Moltbot exposes how timid those efforts have been. Apple's Siri just lives in a little walled garden. It's limited to Apple's approved integrations. It can't book you a flight. Google Assistant knows everything about you, but does almost nothing with that knowledge. Alexa controls your lights, but can't manage your inbox.
That was rude.
Moltbot does what those companies promised and never delivered on. It manages calendars across platforms. It drafts emails in your voice. It handles travel logistics end to end. It commits code to your repos. It monitors prices and rebooks when deals appear. It remembers. It acts proactively. The trade-off is that Moltbot requires you to trust it completely. It is safe because it's neutered. Moltbot is useful because it's dangerous. The big tech assistants are products designed to protect corporate liability. Moltbot is a tool designed to maximize user capability. And that's just an observation about what the market was hungry for. It turns out that tens of thousands of GitHub stars in weeks implies a lot of pent-up demand for assistants that actually assist. I would be remiss if I did not call out some of the really eye-opening things Moltbot does, because I don't want you to walk away and hear that it's only about the security vulnerabilities. People are flocking to this because of the power it brings to their computer day in, day out. Despite all of it, Moltbot works well. Even the 1Password security team, while documenting the risks, shared an anecdote that captures why people are excited. A user asked Moltbot to make a restaurant reservation. OpenTable didn't have the availability, so Moltbot went, found AI voice software, downloaded it, called the restaurant directly, and secured the reservation over the phone. Zero human intervention, problem-solving behavior that emerged from the combination of broad permissions and a capable model. That is something new. It's exciting. And the demos flooding social media are not just productivity theater. It's not just email.
Ribbons, this year's gonna be a fucking decade, baby.
Inbox triage. There's some really new capabilities. One developer configured Moltbot to run coding agents overnight. He would describe features before bed. He would wake up to working implementations and review the code over coffee. Another built a complete Laravel application while walking to get coffee, issuing instructions via WhatsApp, watching the commits literally land in his repo as he strolled along to the coffee shop. Steve Caldwell set up a weekly meal planning system in Notion. Moltbot checks what's in season, cross-references family preferences, generates the grocery list, and updates the calendar. It saves him an hour a week. Self-improvement capability is one of the things that really makes me sit up. If you tell Moltbot to create a skill to monitor flight prices and alert me when they drop below $300, it will write that entire automation itself. And if you tell it to self-improve, it will do so. The pattern among successful users, and there are many, is that they're not automating busy work. They're delegating judgment-requiring tasks to a system that can handle a lot of ambiguity, recover from failures, and find alternative approaches when the first attempt doesn't work. The restaurant reservation story is not impressive because it made a phone call. It's impressive because the AI recognized the initial approach didn't work and autonomously went and found a different solution.
And that's, and again, talking about the understanding thing when it comes to the AI. It understands, you know, again, I'll use all the caveats and crime bunnies. Yeah. I shouted out the Seahawks, and then I realized it was a Sam Darnold jersey. And Sam Darnold jersey is a bold choice. Because it understands, again, understand all the crime bunnies. It understands some things, right? It just doesn't understand all the things. And that is very much like us, right? Like, have you ever butted your head up against a problem that you were having a challenge with that eventually someone else had a very simple solution for? You were just blinded to that solution for some reason. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about, right? What does understanding mean? Because you can't understand everything, right? Like, if you're, to use electoralism, because it's an example that has come up before in Meat Space when talking about these things. If you were to be the informed voter, right, and to actually understand the person that you were voting for, or the you know, the proposition that you were voting for, anything, if you were to be that capable, you actually couldn't reach that position, because it requires a level of knowledge that is impossible actually to achieve. You could limit yourself strictly to all the knowledge about the thing that exists prior to the point that you vote, and even then it would be incredibly challenging, if not impossible. But your vote also includes future ramifications that you can't possibly extrapolate, right? So understanding, the word understand, you don't. You actually, whatever it is, whatever you think you know about anything, you just have a fair grip on it, enough to get by, enough maybe to even be really good at doing shit. But you don't understand, because you exist in a finite timeline that proceeds forward at 1 second per second. You cannot perceive the future, and you have a very abstract understanding of the past. And anything outside your, 180-degree vision is guesswork.
And that's exactly what makes it dangerous. The same capability that lets it problem solve creatively is the capability that lets a prompt injection attack succeed in new ways. So the honest question is, should you run it? And the honest answer,
if your definition of time travel is forward progress at 1 second per second, then yes.
Answer is, it depends on who you are. If you are very technically sophisticated, if you understand VPS deployments, network isolation, credential rotation, the difference between localhost and 0.0.0.0, Moltbot offers a genuine glimpse of where personal AI is headed. You can run it on dedicated hardware. You can use throwaway accounts for initial testing. You can sandbox it aggressively. If what I just said for the last 30 seconds felt like jargon, though, you should wait. The project is young, the security model is immature, and you should let truly well-funded, good companies build agents that will work for you. And that is 99% of us. And especially if you handle sensitive data professionally, do not connect Moltbot to any of your systems. Not financial records, not health information, not client communications. The upside just isn't worth the extra liability. And last but not least, do not buy any Claude tokens. It is a scam. You know, if we step back, agentic AI is coming regardless. The ability to delegate tasks.
Fair, Nick. You got me.
To AI systems that can act autonomously is not a question of if, but when and how. Moltbot is an accelerated preview. It's like Mad Max. It's messy, it's risky, it's exhilarating, it's problematic, and it shows you a glimpse of what the future could look like with all the guardrails off. Now, the security model for agentic AI is still developing. We're still figuring out how to bolt capabilities onto permission frameworks designed for a different era. And the economics of personal computing are shifting at the same time. And so trying to figure out where these agents live remains a big question mark. I have very high conviction that if we are at a point now where Moltbot is exploding and taking off, we will be at a point in 3 months where a bunch of VC-funded agents are going to be on the market competing for our attention with professional security guardrails in place.
And that's what I was talking about earlier, right? That OpenClaw is a thing that is going to be something else. Now, again, I haven't messed with it, but people keep talking about it like you can run it on anything. And that brings up another, who remembers Johnny Mnemonic, right? And the Ice-T character in Johnny Mnemonic, where they were taking old tech and strapping it to stuff in order to like make it work. That is also, and people want, what was it, a couple weeks ago, right? Like, what's the punk rock AI? This could be it, right? If you can run OpenClaw on a Raspberry Pi and accomplish autonomous goals on a shoestring budget, right, with open source AI models out of China and everything else. You feel me?
In fact, I've seen 2 or 3 of them that have conveniently popped up in just the last.
The other day, it might have been yesterday or the day before, somebody referred to the Real Matrix trilogy as Hackers, Johnny Mnemonic, and then the first Matrix movie.
Last couple of days as Moltbot has taken off. I'm going to wait and see how they shake out before reviewing them, but it's worth noting that where there are 90,000
It's kind of wild, Nemesis. It's kind of wild. It's kind of, there are days when where my hair is blown back and I am like, whoo, but there's other days where it's just like you see all the hope and potential of it all, and so you're saying there's a chance.
Hub stars or 82,000 or however many thousand there are by the time you get there, there's going to be VC money. And there's going to be agents that are built with software standards that far exceed an open source application. Moltbot did not create the tensions I've discussed today. All Moltbot did was tap into demand that was so viral, it made them impossible to ignore. Moltbot is a messy glimpse at the future, and I think it's worth paying attention to because it allows us to take that time machine into later 2026.
I do like Digital when people attempt to put all the movies, like as many movies as they can, into a timeline, right? Like as if all these things could happen. I do it myself, right? Like, so where does it, Alien fit into this Demolition Man movie, right? Like,
and see how powerful an agent can be. In particular, I am so excited for agents that actually have the ability to autonomously work through obstacles and generate novel solutions when I didn't give them specific instructions. That's going to be really cool. It's coming this year. Moltbot is only for advanced users, and it's very much a use at your own risk tool. But if you're using it, have fun and be careful.
What's that movie? Have fun, don't die. I'm excited for this.
There's some shit that's about to come down that I can't prepare you for. It's gonna try to give you everything you ever wanted. But in the end, it will all be a lie. Are any of you even listening to me?
I traveled here today to tell you that things do not go well for you in the future.
But tonight we got a shot. There is a perfect configuration of people in this diner that can save humanity.
What happens if we fail?
I really don't like to say it out loud. It's kind of a morale killer. Somewhere inside of you, you know the way things are, the way we're heading, the way people are with each other. You know the world's going to shit. It means the damn is you people choosing to come along for this ride because you see the writing on the wall and you're ready to wake up and do something about it.
There is a chance you will die tonight. Those are real bullets! But I truly believe you could be the group that saves the fucking world.
This is real.
Pretty much, yeah.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Your entire lives have been building to this night. It's gonna be okay. Or it's not. I don't know.
No, don't do it again. I want to see this. I want to see this. Stellar Wingman, I think you wanted the link to the previous video. There it is. And that is my alarm that I now have to go. Not that fast. Stick around for the raid. You know how this works. As I said, I will be back Thursday. We will watch more Wonders Beyond Your Comprehension and Horrors Beyond Human Understanding. Oh shit, Pissed Off Bartender plays GURPS. And if you understand that sentence, I like you. I like you. Where we going? Where we going? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? Peacefire. I never played GURPS. I just collect GURPS books, Ben. But yeah, no, it did. I have an appreciation for like a game that you can, a role playing game where you can play whatever you want and do whatever you want. Have fun, Digital. Don't die. What up, Straight Dope? I appreciate you. I'll be back on Thursday. We'll do more of this. In the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you've forgotten. Always remember that Chuggy loves you. So do I. Be great.